Hello, it is Topical Tuesday, October 15th, 2019. Steve Sipress here. Middle of October. Means there's only 2.5 months left in the year. About 10 short weeks, about 1/5 of the year is all that's left. So if you believe in the 80-20 rule, it's time to make the 20% of the year that's left as good and as profitable for you as the 80% that's already gone has been. So hopefully it is, and I'm here to help you. By the way, in case I forget, you can always go to helpfromsteve.com and we can get on the phone and I will connect you with the right connections, give you the right advice, point you in the right direction, whatever I can do to help you with the advertising, marketing, and sales of your small business. But today's Topical Tuesday, and what's in the news? Well, this is kind of a continuation, unfortunately, about Topical Tuesday from last Tuesday, where I talked about this whole NBA China situation, which total mess, and it has not been resolved, and it's caused me all kinds of angst throughout the week or 10 days since this has been going on. I mean, the NFL, of course, made itself unwatchable to anyone who loves the United States and is not a hypocrite. When the team owners who have mistreated their players for so long, they can't control them at all, and the players likely just as much to get back at the owners and show them that who's boss, because the NFL team owners have set themselves up that the players are actually the boss, even though the NFL team owners are the owners of the team. And the players went like they disrespect the flag and the national anthem and all that crap, and of course I can't be dealing with that stuff. So I'm out in the NFL, and I found much better things to do, by the way, with my time and my energy and my money since exiting my lifelong fandom of the NFL about 3 years ago. And now the NBA gets into this whole thing where, man, I mean, they don't miss a beat to crap all over America for whatever. But when it comes to like one of the worst countries in the history of mankind, communist China, the almighty buck is dictating the game here, and they will not say anything. And by the way, this is quite a place on the business side of things. I normally talk about just business here. And as far as a business, the NBA makes a crap load of money from their growth throughout the world, including a lot of money in China, and they're just scratching the surface. A lot more than they pretty much make in the US. And this is the same for lots of other companies that have grown globally, like Google and Facebook and others. That Google, of course, has, and Facebook, they have a lot more users in other countries than just here in the United States, even though there's a heck of a lot more money per capita and a heck of a lot more money spent here in the US. There are more users and therefore more fans of lots of companies all over the world than there are in the US. So the NBA is in a tough spot saying, man, you know, we're a business. We got to care about the money. And yet, you got all these players all over the league that can't shut up with their anti-American rants about all kinds of just, they don't miss a beat to crap all over the U.S. And so, what a mess. However, I still am a fan of my beloved but haplessly, horribly, embarrassingly terrible New York Knicks, because I am a believer in free speech. And so this Steve Kerr and LeBron James and the rest of these losers can pop off about anything they want, and or not pop off about anything they don't want. They can love China, they can hate the U.S., they can do whatever. That's all their personal choice. It's not affecting me at all. When they go to actually burning the flag or kneeling and during the national anthem or any of that crap, and really just outright showing disrespect as a rule to the country, U.S., well, then of course I would be out. But I think the NFL commissioner is smarter than that, unlike the NFL owners who are complete idiots, and their commissioner who's, talk about just worshiping the almighty dollar above everything else. He knows that he's got really addicted fans that will overlook and be hypocritical and overlook the fact that the league as a rule stands against so many things that its fans stand for. And yet they'll overlook that because of their addiction, and they'll just keep watching the games and spending money on things and buying their t-shirts and doing whatever. But the NBA has not gone that far yet, so I'll remain an NBA fan. But this thing brings to mind another important point. I read a book when I was a kid. It was by Pete Axtell, who passed away way too young, about, I don't know, 20 years ago, so if I remember. Was a columnist, a sports writer in New York City, and also wrote for Sports Illustrated. Great writer. And he wrote a book called The City Game, and it was about both my beloved 1969-1970 World Championship New York Knicks and the fact that basketball was the sport of choice on the playgrounds all over New York City and other cities all across America. Hence the city game. It's played in the cities and arenas, and also played in the cities on streets, where it's a heck of a lot cheaper back in those days to buy a $10 basketball and 10 guys could have fun and play a game than it was to do what? Buy gloves for everybody and bats for everybody and helmets and balls and find some big open field of grass to play on and dirt, and like, good luck with that in the city. Of course, the game is made for the playgrounds of the city. And overwhelmingly these days, people that live in the cities in America, in fact, that's the only place you'll find liberals, is in the cities in America. The entire rest of the country is all covered with conservatives. But cities also make up a tremendous percentage of the population. Maybe I should have looked it up before I recorded this, but it's probably half the population of the country, or maybe more. And, you know, my beautiful wife Michelle and I, before we moved here to Arizona, we lived for 15 years in Chicago, which the city of Chicago alone dwarfs the entire state. So the little tiny area of the city and the suburbs of Chicago has a lot more people than the whole rest of the state. And so that little liberal, tiny little enclave overwhelms the entire state when it comes to voting with the electoral college or voting for a governor or any of that kind of stuff. And so the liberals being in the city, you see how the trick that's being played, and people are falling for it all over the country, that the politicians and the media are brainwashing people to believe that somehow there's a battle going on between left and right, or liberal and conservative, or Republican Democrat. Like, of course not. Both major parties are completely on the same side. They're in favor of the status quo of Washington, D.C., full of corruption. I mean, it even, you know, you see, I know tonight, or maybe it's over now, but as we speak, or it was on earlier, there was one of the Democratic debates with Joe Biden in it, and it's amazing how many Joe Biden supporters or just anti-Trumpers or whatever just come right out and say, like, well, you know, Biden didn't do anything wrong. I mean, that's amazing that people just believe that now. That when a politician uses his political clout or name or connections or anything to get his unqualified son a tremendously high-paying no-show job in a field where he's not qualified, nothing wrong with that. That's just the way things are done in Washington, D.C. So you got the kids of all these politicians, Mitch McConnell, or it's his wife in his case, or his kids, or Biden, you know, whatever. Trump's kid, who knows what the heck's going on with Trump and his family. We'll see when he leaves office. But, you know, all the politicians get wealthy while they're in office, their whole family, Maxine Waters, Pelosi, they all do all kinds of underhanded deals, and McConnell and all that kind of stuff. And so this, you know, it's not illegal. Of course not. In fact, the complete opposite. It's par for the course. It's what I think if you're a politician, you probably get some kind of a document on day one when you get to office. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to now become corrupt and to start to make self-serving deals. You don't want to be so outright about it that you blatantly get money for yourself. That's too risky. Why don't you just get money for all your family? Quote. And then, you know, that's the way you do it, but whatever. Anyway, so the battle's not between liberals and conservatives. All the politicians are doing all the same stuff, and they deflect, and they want us, American people, to somehow believe it's some battle between Republicans and Democrats. Sure, I mean, they battle like two brothers battle when they're kids. You know, they fight, and they wrestle in the mud, and they beat each other up, and then they go, hey, time for dinner, and they go down and have dinner together. And then they, you know, live together in the same room. I mean, they love to fight, but they're brothers. It's the same with the politicians, no matter what party they're in, of course. And so you see it real clearly now in the NBA. you see where the liberals, who are pro-free speech and all that kind of stuff, are like, oh, Trump is bad because of this and that, and oh, he wants to be king, and he's evil, and he's abusing power, and abusing power. There's no one abusing power more than the Chinese government, but when it comes to China, suddenly you got the liberal players and coaches, the anti-Trumpers, the anti-conservatives, liberals in the NBA being very conservative. We worship the almighty dollar ahead of free speech. Whoa, that's supposed to be a Republican type of thing, isn't it? And you got the whole Republican Party now talking about farmers and factory workers. Whoa, that was supposed to be a Democratic thing. And the Democratic Party's got all the elite people with all the big money. Well, that was supposed to be a Republican thing. Right, so, pay attention. It's nothing to do with Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. It's all about the people that want to keep the status quo the way it is, people that profit off it, which are a lot of people in America. I know a lot of people. I know people in government. I know people that get government contracts. I know a lot of people that profit a ton off the government. In fact, a story I don't think I've ever told on here. I'm going to tell it on Throwback Thursday. I'll have to remind myself. It's a story about one of my professors when I was graduating law school, and what he told me about what career I should go into. Anyway, so far the NBA hasn't, commissioner was smart enough to come out and say, hey, players can say what they want, we believe in free speech, we're American, blah, 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 but they're towing a fine line, and you don't see the players coming out and saying anything bad about China, which of course would love nothing more than to wipe America off the face of the earth, other than all the technology they steal from us and the money they steal from us. But otherwise I guess they want to wipe us off the face of it. They just want to subjugate us like they subjugate their own people. And the NBA is playing right into it, making them a lot of money and making them, stars of the world. And, China's really, really smart about this stuff. While America, like I said, we got all caught up in the stupidity of, oh, it's Republican versus Democrat, instead of it's U.S. versus the world. China doesn't get caught up in that nonsense, so China just their politicians spend all their time, their government, spend all their time figuring out how to beat the U.S. Politicians in the U.S. spend way too much time acting like they're fighting amongst each other. Like, cut the crap. Anyway, technically I'm still with the NBA because the players haven't just blatantly disrespected the national anthem and the flag, even though they come real close with this, we love China, but we hate the U.S. crap. They haven't gone that far yet either. So I'm still a fan of my beloved but spectacularly, horribly embarrassing New York Knicks. Let's see if someday their decades-long championship drought will end. In the meantime, this video is ending. Help me out in one of the comments, wherever you're watching or listening or reading this. What do you think about the NBA? Should I stick with the NBA? Should I realize that even though they don't come right out and say it, they hate America, they hate everything I stand for. They're ridiculous and they should not be supported. But I don't know. I'm just thinking they haven't gone that far yet. Not anywhere near as far as the NFL did, which lost me and should have lost the lion's share of their customer base, except the lion's share of their customer base is addicted / hypocritical, weak-minded, whatever you want to call it. They don't, or they'll, hypocritical, I guess is the term. Oh, I'll overlook everything I believe in to watch some overpaid kids take my money and hate me and hate everything I stand for. Whoa, that's not me. But let me know what you think. Topical Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow on World Wide Web Wednesday with a tip to help you make money on the World Wide Web. How fitting. Catch you then. Bye-bye.